Today's video is a lesson on how to log an absence on the web through the SRB Retrieve web portal. You're going to be directed to log into the web portal through your invited by your school division. This is your entry point for your web portal login. You're going to apply your username and apply your password, log your web portal, and you will see these menu options on the top of your menu. Depending on your role and your access will depend on the particular options that you have available. I'm logged in as our SRB teacher test for this example. Three options on this particular menu. I have My Information, Absences, and we have Dashboards. I'm going to today focus on our absence entry. Hovering over the My Absences, I can then click on the Absence Entry menu option. To be absent for a day today or in the future, I can have three options to jump off with. First, we have to choose an absence reason. Second, we have to identify the days, or if it's a single day, and then third will be the actual dates. If you're curious or have any questions with regards to the process for entering your absences, you can always click on the question mark for help. Keep in mind it's very important to select the most applicable and appropriate absence reason. Otherwise, you may find that your may be denied and you are required to re-enter it correctly if there was something selected incorrectly. Clicking on the drop-down arrow, you'll see the different absence reasons that are available to me. Depending on your role with the organization will depend on the options available to you. In this example, I'm logged in as a teacher, and these are my teacher options. This list will grow and change as the system evolves. For today's example, I'm going to choose a family medical absence reason. Family medical is associated with medical appointments for our family members, and it's all based on your agreements or contracts. I'm going to just stick with the default single date absence entry. I'm going to click on the binocular on the calendar to pull up my calendar options. Select Tuesday, March 15th as my example date. Next button will take me to the next screen of my absence entry, and it will display my schedule based on assignment at my location. We see that it's selected March 15th based on my calendar entry. Day of the week is Tuesday, displaying my position of teacher. It's displaying the assigned location, which in this example, my test here is assigned to this unknown location. It does my start and end times. This may be directly related to my particular assignment schedule, or it could be based on the location schedule only. The system will default to automatically selecting the schedule for the entire day. If I want to take off only the morning, I would click on the button. If I wanted to take off the noon, I could click on the PM button. On the reset, we'll reset, and the system is going to look at my assigned schedule first and then my location schedule second. On the next button, we'll lead to the next page where I have the ability to enter some information for my replacement if required. There's three questions here. Do you require someone to replace you, yes or no? The defaults are all yes, but please keep in mind if you do not require a replacement, then click on the no button, and then the next two questions will gray out. If I click on yes for I do require somebody, the next question is he or she required to work the same schedule? If I said no here, I have the ability to change the replacement schedule. Do you request to replace you? You have the opportunity to select up to 2 replacement employees that you may opt to request. I'm just going to click Next. Here's the screen where I can select my requested employee. There are times when you may speak to that replacement employee directly and make arrangements with that replacement employee to cover for you. This is where you'll have the opportunity to apply that individual. Click on the binoculars. I'm going to search the database for a requested employee. You can type the last name here, and it will click the search button, and it will automatically populate with that employee, or it will give you the first in the option, and then you could click on the drop-down arrow to search through the particular and find the particular employee that you're looking for. In this example, it only resulted in my test sub. It's acceptable for this example. On the next or the accept button, it applies my replacement into that number 1 position. On the next button, I provide the replacement some instructions. The first question is very important. Have you already contacted the sub-test? It's going to display the applicable name about filling this absence. If I say yes, that will automatically populate your absence record with this replacement employee, and no further work or action is required. If I know, we think that the replacement has not been contacted to cover for this, and the system will generate reports in order for your schools to and fill those absences. Please keep in mind, if you say yes here, it's expected that you have in fact contacted this replacement employee about coming in for your absence. And it's expected that replacement employee will show up for the work. Here we have the opportunity to select on the applicable subject that the replacement employee is going to be teaching. We have up to 3 different subjects that we can populate. On the right-hand side, we can identify the grade level in which we are teaching or in which the replacement employee is expected to teach. In the message box, identify a message to the replacement employee. Clicking on the next button to the leave application page. A particular example is the family medical section. It identifies the start date and the end date of this absence. It identifies the absence code that we selected. It would also identify any information if had already submitted it. This information is going to follow along the transaction through the electronic approval process and will populate as it becomes updated. The details section identifies the contract reference information, and it identifies to reference the applicable section in your collective agreement. In this blue section, we have components where we're able to apply information. Clicking on the drop-down arrow box will display the options that we have available. For this example, I'm going to select child, and in the comment section, I can apply some comments. Now, depending on the particular section will depend on what information is required and what information is not required. If the box is not in yellow, it's not a required field. However, if you attempt to need beyond this leave application and the field is required, the system will tell you to complete the information and to leave that information blank. I'm going to proceed. This comment is not a required field. Now we're at the end of our absence entry. However, we have not submitted the absence yet. This is our summary page where we can review the information. The absence reason is family medical. It identifies the absence schedule, the date, my position, my location, the start and end times. The replacement schedule just indicates that the replacing employee schedule is the same as the absence schedule. Requested employee displays here. This is subtest, and I have already contacted subtest. The system will not call this employee, or the system will not notify anybody to notify this employee because based on my answer, we expect this subtest employee to be showing up to work teach my classes on this particular day. Displays the subjects and levels, and it also displays that message. The application section also provides with information with regards to my entry. At the top of the screen, you'll have a Submit Absence button. At the bottom of the screen, you also have a Submit Absence button. Both do the same task. It's just for ease of use, so you don't have to scroll up and down pages to find the button. On any one of those Submit Absence buttons, when you are satisfied with your complete entry, you will receive a confirmation receipt. Your ID, and you can reference back this entry changes of your absences, which I'll show you in just a moment. It displays, again, once again, the information. The absence reason is family medical. Shows my information, the date of my absence, the day of the week, my position, my location, start and end times. So displays the replacement information, as well as it displays information in my leave application, which is going to follow along the routing as applicable to this absence reason to those authorizers or approvers along the electronic process. At the bottom of this page, I can click on the Log Another Absence button, or if I wanted to print a copy of this receipt, I could click the Print Receipt button, and I will have a decent page that I can print off on my printer. Closing that, we'll close that print page and bring us back to our confirmation receipt. Now, to show you this particular absence that I've entered, I am going to hover over my absences, or change, and it's going to display absences within a date range, month prior to today and going forward 1 year after today. We can change this date range and we can display the absences in a different date range. We could change those date ranges and click on the Refresh Absences button. We can see here that the ID number is 1034. If I click on that ID number, I open up my absence transaction. It displays my information, it displays the dispatch information. It tells us that this leave application is currently being processed, and it will identify the individual for which this leave is currently sitting with. It finds the task section. Is the task ID, the date it was created, by whom it was created, and when it was processed, as well as all of the detail information. My back arrow button to my viewer changes and absence dispatch and listing. If there were I was working and I was dispatched to those jobs, it would display that information under this dispatches section here. For example, when the subtest employee logs in, to or change their absences, they can see also this particular job that they're dispatched for. All at the bottom here, it shows canceled or denied leave requests. And in this particular example, there's no absence record for these because the absence has been deleted. These requests were denied and the absence record was deleted. And the absence entry, I'm going to walk you through one more example and show you a date range and also show you a couple of different messages that you may receive while you're entering your absences. Please keep in mind the absence reasons are all attached and connected electronically to collective agreement criteria, contract criteria, entitlement criteria, whether it's a year limit, an event limit, or a storage bank limit. Clicking on the absence entry option on the menu bar, again, I'm going to go and log another absence. Clicking on the drop-down arrow, I select a different absence reason. And in this particular example, I'm going to use convocation. I'm going to select a range of days in this particular example. We're going to go from March 16th to March 23rd. Click Next button. I will see my schedule based on my assignment schedule as well as my location start and end times. You can include or exclude particular days within that date range. Next button. I then am now blocked from it continuing to enter this absence because I've exceeded my entitlement for this particular absence reason. So it's telling me I've requested 3 days, 1 day available. I am unable to proceed through this entry. Clicking on my back arrow button, I can come back and I can modify either the date range or I could click one more time and select a different date. For example, I'm just going to exclude the dates and only have available this one date. Clicking on my next button, you can see that message has resolved. I'm going to say, yes, I do require somebody to replace me. Clicking on the next button, I'm going to actually, in this example, just continue on through and select my test requested employee once again. Who I want to request for my replacement, I don't need to populate that with any information. Clicking on the next button, come up to this page one more time with replacement instructions. I'm going to select a subject of arts, select my level of grade 9, clicking the next button, I have a message that pops up. It says you either check yes or no on the have you already contacted the replacement employee prompt. So clicking OK, I can then on this question, have I spoken to this replacement employee about them in for me on this day? If I have, and they're expected to be working that schedule on that date, I can say yes. If I have not spoken specifically to this replacement employee about this particular work, I'm going to say no here. I'm going to click on the next button. Come up to the convocation section details for this particular leave application. This gives us our authorizer or approver or supervisor or whomever the routing is applicable to more information about this particular leave application. some comments in there, clicking on the next. I have all the rest of my details with regards to my absence and leave application, and now I can submit my absence. Again, this information has provided with a confirmation receipt where I can print it off or I can proceed to log another absence. Clicking on my view or change, I can now see that I have two absences logged, one for March 15th and one for March 23rd. You can see also on the convocation, I do not have a replacing employee on this record. Once the employee has been applied to this particular record within a leave, it will lay that replacing employee in spot on this record. As well, that replacing employee will be able to see the list of dispatches that they have when they come onto their web portal and sign in and access this page. Another way I can see this information is by clicking on the My Info button on the menu bar and clicking the View My Attendance for this year button. I am off a date selection, and it's based on today going forward. It's going in for 1 year. I'm going to change this date range to March 31st, 2016, and click the Submit button. We can see for March 2016, we can see two different absence reasons. One is family medical and one is convocation. And these codes are going to be consistent for all of your absence reasons, and you'll see them listed down in this section. And then we also see the summary details of each absence record. And now we are back. Clicking on the Home button brings us back to the home page. And that is how to enter an absence on the web.